Hey team, Woodamoo down here, FitPro Health Clinics again, 109 Princess Street in Palmy. Now, just a little bit of extra for experts this one actually. So this one's about pulse pressure. Now we've talked about blood pressure and everything. We've talked about heart rate. We've talked about stroke volume, and we've talked about resistance in the arteries and how that affects your blood pressure. And we talked about how it's 120/80 is the best. That's the kind of recommended level. 120 on top, systolic, and 80 underneath is your diastolic. Okay, so 120/80, that's what they call the ideal blood pressure, and that's what we want kind of your range to be around. Now I'll talk a little bit right now about something called pulse pressure. Now, something else that is latest research is showing to be an independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease. Now, what is pulse pressure? Well, pulse pressure is a difference between that 120 and that 80. Okay, so the difference between the systolic and the diastolic number. So for example, if it was 120/80, the difference between that is 40. So this is particularly important when you find that the difference gets over 60 type thing. So for example, I was reading something about this guy that had his systolic pressure, so the top number was 153 and the bottom number was 73. Now, how does this work? Well, prepared something earlier on this board here, which we'll quickly get out if you can see that properly. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so heart, right? So we're talking about the heart here. And I've drawn a couple of little diagrams here. So this one is we have a look up there. That's the artery wall. Okay. Now on the first one up here at the top, we've got what's happened here is as the heart pumps that blood through, your artery walls are going to expand, right? And so that allows that's the 120 kind number. The blood's pushing through here. If you've got nice flexible arteries, then you're going to get a bit of that happening, right? And so that's good. And then when it comes back down during the phase where the heart is relaxed, the diastolic pressure number, okay, so the artery walls will be coming in. So the blue line, dotted line, that's the after effect type thing. Okay, so heart pumps, goes out, artery walls go out, the heart relaxes, artery walls come in. Okay, so that's in a normal artery wall type thing. And what happens when you get something like that guy I was telling you about here, 153/73 or whatever, what happens is this bit here. So the artery walls may not be as flexible as up here. So let's pretend for whatever reason this guy's artery walls are real, quite hard, stiff, so inflexible. So what happens is, imagine the heart trying to pump through this kind of artery wall. There's hardly any give, so you're not going to get that kind of opening up type thing, which would mean that because there's no opening up of the arteries here, the blood pressure at the top, or the number at the top when the heart is pumping, is actually going to be higher than normal. So that's why here was 153, okay, instead of 120. The thing is interesting as well is, why was his bottom number lower than normal? Okay, so why is it 73 and not 80? Well, what happens is, because there's no flexibility in the artery, you've got quite high blood pressure when it's pumping, but when the heart relaxes, see up here the blue one, it's coming down, and you've got a bit of pressure there as the artery starts to come back down. As it starts to come back down, there's still a bit of pressure in it, so it's always moving. There's still a bit of pressure in that diastolic number, giving you the 80. Down here, it's not moving it really much at all, right? So if there's no movement, it's going to cause a drop in that lower number, a drop in that diastolic number. So for example, 153/73, that's a difference of like 80. Okay, so that's a pulse pressure of 80, and that's pretty high, and that's what they're saying now is another risk factor as well. So it's all to do with flexibility of arteries. Well, one of the things anyway, could be one of the causes of it. How flexible are those arteries? So what kind of stuff affects that? Well, you've got that whole build-up of the atherosclerotic plaque type idea, where build-up of just crap in your arteries is causing them to be less flexible than they normally are. You've got things like lack of vitamin C, not providing enough of the elasticity, or the molecules that will give the artery wall some elasticity or a bit more flexibility. Other things like not enough fish oil, or not getting enough fish itself. There's a few other things that I can't remember right now, but they're actually risk factors, or not risk factors, but they're ways that you can help to improve your artery wall function. So anyway, if you've got something like that, or you think, man, my numbers are a bit weird, not really 120/80, maybe it's high blood pressure, high systolic, high diastolic, or if numbers are a little bit weird to you, what you need to do is just follow up with your health provider, check with your GP, or of course you can comment down here and let us know, and we can see what we can do to help you out. But thought I'd just chuck that in there. Pulse pressure, just while we're talking about this whole blood pressure thing, thought I'd add it in. That's our video for today, just around that stuff. If you find that interesting, flick us an email, flick us a text, comment, whatever. If you've got any questions about the whole blood pressure thing at all, we'd love to hear from you. Sweet. Have a good weekend. See ya.